In the early hours of January 15, 1947, a discovery was made that would send shockwaves through Los Angeles and beyond. The lifeless body of Elizabeth Short, a young woman who would later be dubbed the Black Dahlia, was found in a vacant lot. The scene was grotesque. Her body, drained of blood, lay severed in two, with the torso posed in a way that suggested a calculated intention. This horrifying image not only captivated the city but became a focal point for a media frenzy that would last for years. Elizabeth Short, once a hopeful actress with dreams of stardom, was now the centerpiece of one of America's most notorious unsolved murders. But what truly lay beneath the surface of this enigma? As investigators began to unravel the threads of Short's life, they encountered a tapestry woven with both ambition and despair. Born in 1924 in Boston, Elizabeth navigated a childhood marked by a troubled family life. Her father abandoned the family when she was just a child, leaving her mother to raise her and her siblings alone. Despite these challenges, Elizabeth graduated high school and moved to California in 1946, eager to pursue her dreams of becoming an actress. However, the glitz and glamour of Hollywood were overshadowed by harsh realities. She found herself frequenting local bars, mingling with aspiring actors and established figures, but her last known whereabouts were cloaked in confusion. Who was she meeting? What secrets did she carry with her to the grave? As days turned into weeks, detectives worked tirelessly to piece together the fragments of her life. They uncovered disturbing details about her interactions and relationships, revealing a young woman caught in a web of hopes and fears. The police were inundated with anonymous phone calls and letters, many of which were cryptic and unsettling. One letter, in particular, became infamous. The sender claimed responsibility for the murder, taunting authorities with eerie details that only the killer could know. The letters were laden with arrogance, a chilling bravado that both captivated and horrified the public. How could someone exhibit such confidence after committing such a heinous act? As the investigation deepened, the timeline of events grew increasingly complex. On the day her body was discovered, multiple witnesses reported seeing a man who resembled descriptions of her last known acquaintances lurking near the area. The police released a sketch based on these witness accounts, depicting a shadowy figure that seemed to haunt the periphery of the investigation. Yet, just as quickly as leads emerged, they faded into obscurity, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. The more detectives sought clarity, the deeper the shadows grew, blurring the line between myth and reality. The medical examination of Short's body revealed shocking insights that would forever haunt the investigation. Her remains exhibited signs of severe trauma, multiple lacerations, bruises, and unmistakable marks of torture. The brutal nature of her death suggested a crime motivated by personal vendetta rather than random violence. Moreover, the precise way her body was posed indicated a meticulous killer, perhaps someone who had planned her demise with chilling forethought. But who would harbor such hatred? And why? As the investigation unfolded, a series of potential suspects emerged, each with their own dark tales. Among them was a doctor with a suspicious past, rumored to have treated Short at some point, and a local businessman with shadowy connections to the city's underground. Yet, despite their connections to the case, none were definitively tied to the crime. The web of suspects only served to deepen the enigma, complicating the work of investigators who struggled to distinguish fact from fiction. The unsettling question lingered: was the killer among them, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again? As the case began to wane in the public eye, a sudden twist threw it back into the spotlight. A woman claiming to be Short's friend came forward with a shocking revelation. She recounted a late-night encounter where Short confided her fears of someone following her. This friend described the man as unsettling, a figure who seemed to appear out of nowhere, always lingering just at the edge of her vision. This chilling testimony reignited interest in the case, thrusting its haunting details back into the hearts and minds of the public. Yet, as the investigation continued, the evidence became increasingly convoluted. Strange phone calls, unreliable witnesses, and fading memories painted a disorienting picture. Had the original crime scene been compromised? Were vital clues overlooked amidst the confusion? As detectives retraced their steps, it became painfully evident that time had eroded the crucial evidence that could have led him to the killer. The chilling thought crept into the minds of those involved. Had Short's murderer simply vanished into thin air, as if they had never existed? The media frenzy enveloping the case never waned, leading to a barrage of theories and speculations. Each sensationalized headline only deepened the wound of the unsolved mystery, transforming Short into a tragic icon of the city's darkest shadows. As the years rolled on, new leads emerged, yet each one fizzled out, leaving only whispers of the unspeakable truth buried deep beneath the surface of the investigation. The haunting question loomed large: what had really happened to Elizabeth Short? With the passage of time, the case remained open but cold, surrendering to the fog of uncertainty. Detectives and amateur sleuths alike have sought to untangle the intricate web of clues, but the answers have eluded them at every turn. As decades faded into history, the legend of the Black Dahlia transformed from a tragic death into a symbol of the unsolved and the unexplained. The story, now steeped in mythos, continues to capture imaginations, drawing people into its dark embrace. As layers of time settle upon Los Angeles, echoes of the past still resonate. The streets that once echoed with the laughter of a young actress now harbor the ghost of a mystery long unsolved. The Black Dahlia case stands as a reminder of the fragility of life and the shadows that lurk just beneath the surface of our reality. Who knows what dark secrets still lie buried within those forgotten alleys, waiting for someone brave enough to uncover the truth. The chilling allure of the unknown continues to haunt, reminding us that some tales may never be fully told. In the decades following Elizabeth Short's brutal murder, numerous pieces of evidence emerged, contributing to the ongoing intrigue and investigation surrounding the case. One significant checkpoint in the timeline occurred in 1949 when a witness named George Hodel was brought to the forefront. Hodel, a physician with a penchant for the arts and a rumored association with the Los Angeles elite, became a person of interest due to his connections and peculiar behavior. His son, Steve Hodel, a former LAPD detective, would later assert that his father was the killer, offering a range of circumstantial evidence and psychological profiling that painted a chilling portrait of Hodel's possible involvement. In a bid to substantiate his claims, Steve Hodel uncovered various pieces of supposed evidence, including a cryptic photograph that allegedly depicted Elizabeth Short alongside his father. This photograph, presented to the public in 2003, sparked renewed interest in the case. The image, while grainy and lacking definitive proof, reignited debates about the potential for familial connections to the crime. In addition to the photograph, Steve Hodel cited a series of disturbing diaries and notes belonging to his father, which hinted at violent tendencies and an obsession with women that paralleled the characteristics of Short. This line of inquiry led to a re-examination of forensic evidence from the original case. In 2004, advancements in DNA technology prompted a re-evaluation of the samples collected from the crime scene. Experts analyzed hair fibers and blood samples, aiming to generate new leads. However, the results remained inconclusive, further entrenching the case in mystery. The DNA evidence yielded no matches to known criminals, and the lack of definitive findings only deepened the chasm between speculation and reality. Another pivotal moment in the timeline unfolded in 1950, when a man named Robert Manley was arrested in connection with the case. Manley, a key witness who had been in contact with Short shortly before her death, initially captured the attention of investigators due to his proximity to the victim. Yet, despite intense scrutiny, he was eventually cleared of any wrongdoing. Manley's account of his interactions with Short, however, added layers to the narrative, suggesting the possibility of a darker undercurrent in her life. He described her as a woman seeking fame and validation, navigating a treacherous landscape filled with dangerous liaisons and broken promises. The investigation faced further complications when it was revealed that numerous letters were sent to the media and police, purportedly from the killer. These letters, filled with taunts and confessions, became an integral part of the case's lore. Some were dismissed as hoaxes, while others were taken seriously by law enforcement. The most famous of these letters, signed "The Black Dahlia Avenger," claimed responsibility for Short's murder and included details that only the killer would know. However, subsequent forensic analysis indicated that the handwriting did not match that of any known suspects, leading to a dead end and further complicating the investigation. In 1951, a new suspect emerged, a man named Leslie Dillon, who was linked to the case through a series of tips from informants. Dillon, a bellboy with a history of criminal behavior, had been implicated based on circumstantial evidence, including a witness who claimed to have seen him with Short. However, police were unable to gather sufficient proof to charge him, and the case against him ultimately collapsed. The fleeting nature of leads and suspects would become a hallmark of the investigation, as each promising connection seemed to vanish into thin air. As time progressed, the Black Dahlia case became a cultural phenomenon, inspiring countless books, films, and documentaries. In 1970, author John Gregory Dunn published a novel titled True Confessions, which fictionalized elements of the murder and its investigation. This work brought the story of Elizabeth Short to a new generation, highlighting the tragic elements of her life and the media's role in sensationalizing her death. The novel, while fictional, reflected the ongoing obsession with the case, showcasing how it had infiltrated popular culture. Fast forward to 2003, when investigative journalist and author Piu Eatwell released her book, Black Dahlia, Red Rose. In it, she proposed a new theory implicating a man named Mark Hansen, a nightclub owner who had known Short. Eatwell's research included a variety of testimonies and documents that suggested Hansen had a motive to kill Short. However, her conclusions were met with skepticism by some historians and criminologists, who argued that the evidence was circumstantial at best and lacked the rigor needed to support such a bold claim. In 2017, the case saw another resurgence when the LAPD announced a renewed interest in solving the murder. With advancements in forensic science and public interest at an all-time high, the department began to re-examine old evidence and cold leads. They released previously undisclosed documents to the public, hoping that new eyes might provide fresh insights. Among these was a collection of police reports and witness statements that detailed the chaotic atmosphere surrounding the investigation in 1947. This renewed effort drew the attention of amateur sleuths and true crime enthusiasts, who began to delve into the case with a fervor reminiscent of the original investigation. Online forums and social media platforms buzzed with theories, as individuals tried to piece together the fragmented puzzle of Elizabeth Short's life and tragic end. The case became a digital phenomenon, with podcasts and YouTube channels dedicated to unearthing new evidence and sharing theories. Despite the many theories and suspects put forth over the years, the identity of the Black Dahlia killer remains elusive. The myriad of leads often leads to dead ends, with each promising connection dissolving into speculation. The enduring nature of the case, however, lies not only in the mystery surrounding Elizabeth Short's death but also in the cultural impact it has had on society's understanding of crime, media, and the human psyche. As the investigation continues to capture public fascination, the story of Elizabeth Short endures, a tragic reminder of the untold stories lurking in the shadows and the timeless quest for truth amidst the chaos. As we close the chapter on the haunting tale of the Black Dahlia, we are left with more questions than answers. The relentless search for truth in the shadows of Elizabeth Short's life and death reveals not only the complexities of a singular case but also the darker corners of human nature. Despite decades of investigation, countless theories, and a multitude of suspects, the identity of her killer remains shrouded in mystery. The renewed interest from law enforcement, fueled by advancements in forensic science, offers a glimmer of hope that perhaps one day, justice will be served. Yet, as the digital age breathes new life into this cold case, we are reminded that sometimes, the pursuit of truth can lead us down a labyrinth of speculation, with each turn revealing more about the society that seeks to understand it. Elizabeth Short's story is not just a chilling reminder of a tragic fate but a reflection of our collective fascination with the macabre. As we continue to ponder the enigma of the Black Dahlia, we invite you to share your thoughts. What do you believe happened to Elizabeth Short? Join the conversation by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Together, let's keep the pursuit of truth alive in the shadows of this dark mystery.